Yo, what is up, YouTube? It's your boy Legend, and I'm back with another video. You already know what this is just by looking at the thumbnail. Now, if you guys like this and you enjoy the content, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe while you're at it. But without further ado, let's get into the intro so we can start this with. We start this episode off with the female Pain. She slowly made her way to Konoha, only being a couple of 100 miles away from the border of the fire country. She then stopped as she felt the presence approaching rapidly as she released a black rod as it slid from her sleeve. She turned to look, but a silver blur shot past her, but she still got a good look. Looks like the copy ninja bit off more than he could chew and got another teammate killed. She then continued to make her slow walk toward the village. Meanwhile, Naruto woke up. It was the middle of the night and Ayame was cuddled up into his chest. He removed her from him and left as he unsealed 3 large scrolls from his wrist. They were summoning contracts. Most high up Uzumakis had all 3 summons because of their strength, but the ones who were not so strong only had 1 or 2. He made his way to the training grounds and looked at all 3 contracts, the weakest being the osprey. Then there was the bear, and the strongest being the griffin. He signed the griffin and went through hand signs as he slammed his hand on the ground before he poofed away. Naruto looked around, seeing he was in a green field with strange animals. Something then landed behind him as he felt the ground shake. He turned to see some sort of creature. It had the body of a lion, the head of an eagle, and wings of a dragon. Naruto blinked to make sure his eyes were not tricking him. This was the first time he's seen this so-called griffin. Another landed beside the massive 2-tailed sized beast. This one had the body of a wolf, head of a dragon, and wings of an eagle. Another human. How strange, we haven't seen your kind in over a decade. Naruto only stared up at the 2 griffins. He was still trying to process what he was looking at. They looked like someone had spliced multiple animal DNAs into one species. The eagle-head griffin then spoke. It matters not what we see or not. What matters, it is that he is here. We are the only ones that are Uzumaki summoned. A clan that should be extinct. So, how are you here, child? Naruto gave a bitter chuckle. Clan that should be extinct, huh? Well, I guess it's my job to bring the clan back. Both Griffin's eyes went wide before they sniffed him, causing Naruto to step back. He smells of Uzumaki Shinra, said the wolf-headed griffin. Meanwhile, Kakashi burst into the hospital, holding an unconscious Tatsumi as he laid her on the stretcher and she was taken away. Danzo then stepped next to Kakashi. I want a full verbal report on what happened, and I want to hear everything that went wrong. This failed mission is not acceptable, especially when only you and an unconscious Tatsumi come back, when there were 3 Jonin that left. Kakashi gave a full report as he sat in the waiting room. He sat there, starting to fall asleep, waiting for someone to come out of the room saying that Tatsumi would live and be okay. Shizune exited the room not 10 minutes later. Kakashi stood and pinned her to the wall. How is she? Will she be okay? How bad was the danger? Shizune turned her head. She lost too much blood. Even with the bandages, because of her blood type, it's much thinner and more rare. Any other case, she could have lived, but we couldn't do a transfusion on her. Meanwhile, the female Pain had arrived at the village gates. She looked up before she stepped forward and was stopped by Izumo and Katetsu. She made quick work of them before she jumped off deeper into the village. Meanwhile, the people in charge of the barrier corps informed the shinobi of one intruder. Not wanting to take the risk, Jiraiya was sent to deal with the problem, along with Ibiki and Gaara. The female Pain started to go through hand signs to summon the rest of the Pains, but her hands were grabbed. Akatsuki, you must be really stupid to come in this village and expect things to go your way. Jiraiya and Gaara then landed next to Ibiki. A black rod then extended from her wrist, stabbing Ibiki in the hand, causing him to let go. Jiraiya jumped forward and was swatted away like a fly due to him freezing. Those eyes, I've only met one person with them. Gaara sent his sand, but the woman flipped away, going through hand signs, summoning jutsu. 5 more bodies then appeared, all in black and red cloaks with red clouds. But they didn't move. Jiraiya's eyes went wide. Yahiko. But he got no answer. Off in the distance, Nagato was confused. He could only see through 2 of the path's eyes. All the others were coming in as blank, as if they were blind. What is going on? I can't see anything. Nagato pulled his hands from the machine and summoned back all his bodies. I see. So I've been betrayed by someone. Konan walked over with her emotionless face. Konan, do you remember when you said you would do anything to help our dream? Konan nodded before she felt a searing pain in her chest. She looked down to see a chakra receiver. Nagato, what? She was cut off. My bodies are unfit right now, so I'll need yours. This is only temporary, but I'm going to make you my main path. I won't go as far as I did with the others. I'll hold back my chakra just enough so you don't die. Konan started to cry as more chakra rods pierced through her all black coat that she wore. Her hair started to turn orange at the tips, and her eyes started to flicker between orange and purple before the rippled through. Through the whole process, Nagato showed 0 remorse. Konan felt like she was going to die. Her face was on fire, her legs, arms, and entire body. Now, it is done. Unwillingly, Konan sprouted paper wings from her back and left tears still falling from her half-dead body. She made it back to Konoha in a total of 2 minutes from the paper tree as she landed in front of the 3 Konoha ninjas with the boom. Jiraiya covered his eyes, shielding them from the debris. But when he recovered, he was speechless. His former angelic student stood in front of him. Her damaged and color of pink and crimson stained her face due to her still falling tears and blood from the rods. The piercings all dried and healed due to the Uzumaki chakra in her system. Now, as the rushed healing left behind rough scarring tissue, eyes no longer amber but purple with ripple patterns. She then rose a shaking left hand, trying to go against the will of Nagato's chakra. Her hand then turned into a rocket, so she let out a piercing yell due to the transition of being a path being half complete to keep her alive. Konan cursed. She cursed Nagato. He used her like a puppet. Why not use Yahiko's body? He was already dead. He couldn't feel pain. Off in the distance, Shisui turned his head. He then morphed him and Itachi away as he felt his chakra and Konan being disrupted. The two appeared off onto the Hokage faces to see Konan summon a chameleon and step inside of it. Seeing this, Itachi's Mangekyo Sharingan spun to life as he dispersed into ravens, radiating nothing but malice and hate. Pain used his friend as a mere pawn like he was. He wasn't going to let her go through that. Shisui vanished in the Shunshin and grabbed Konan by the wrist, stopping an almighty push. Konan turned her head to look at him, half hopeful and half angry. Just then, her body went limp as she collapsed into his arms. As her Rinnegan faded and she passed out, a few seconds earlier with Itachi, he materialized inside the paper tree in front of Nagato. Itachi, what are you doing here? You had no orders to follow me. Itachi glared at the cripple. Stop what you're doing. You're using your friend as a pawn, putting her life in danger. Konan is fine with being used. She said she'd do anything to help with the goal. This is her debt. Itachi said nothing as his Susanoo exploded from him as he grabbed Nagato and his walker and squeezed, forcing the walker to collapse onto Nagato as the two were crushed and mended into one by sheer force. The only thing left intact was Nagato's head. Itachi walked forward and plucked the eyes out before slipping them into a jar and burning the body. Back with Shisui. He phased himself and Konan back into his dimension. He had to recreate it after his fight with Madara so he could have another safety net. Meanwhile, with Naruto, he stood in front of the boss Griffin. He had the body of a lion, the two front legs were more like talons, the back legs were that of a wolf, and he had a large set of eagle wings, and the head was more like that of a deer. The boss raised a single talon and poked Naruto in the chest as he felt a deep burning sensation. A tattoo of a deer with wings surrounding it formed onto his shoulder. You are now the new summoner of the Griffin. Now you must go back and get your familiar. With that, Naruto poofed away, going back to the leaf. Meanwhile, Danzo lifted his head and sighed at the desk. Looking up at Kakashi in front of him, he spoke. Naruto just arrived. I can feel his chakra from here. What will you tell him? Kakashi was shaking a little as he looked around. I'll figure something out. I just need time. Maybe another team. Danzo's gaze hardened. Absolutely not. You failed once. Now the stone have more leverage on us. Me sending you back expecting a different result is insanity, the true definition of the word. Just then there's a knock at the door and Danzo gave permission to enter. Naruto stepped inside and looked around. You know, a lot of people seem to be on edge. Did I miss anything? Danzo explained the problem of Akatsuki before Naruto nodded and went to leave, but Kakashi stopped him. Wait, Naruto. He stopped and turned, and Kakashi started to explain, all the while his hand on his shoulder. When he finished explaining, Naruto had his hair shadowing his eyes, and the temperature in the room was rising a lot. So, you just left them there to be tortured in enemy territory. Not to mention that a comrade was killed. After the failure of the mission, Naruto stepped towards Kakashi as he stepped back. Naruto raised his head and his eyes looked into his soul. Kakashi saw Naruto, but he also saw the fox that stood behind him with his razor-sharp teeth showing as he looked into those red eyes. Naruto snatched Kakashi up by the collar before slamming him into a wall. What went wrong? Better yet, what happened to not leaving a comrade behind? Remember what you told us? Those who break the rules are scum, but those who abandon their friends are worse than scum. You said those words, but yet you failed the mission and left Anko and Tamari behind, not to mention Tatsumi-san. Naruto released Kakashi and body flickered out of the office and to the training ground. He ran through hand signs as he summoned Ragnarok, making him his familiar and letting him poof away. Naruto then summoned 260 clones and tasked them out. I want 50 of you to work on every single assassination technique you can find. 100 of you work on improving the Rasengan, make it bigger, add an element, something. 50 of you work on chakra control, and 50, I want the 50 to work on taijutsu and ninjutsu, while the rest work on seals. With that, Naruto vanished. He was making his way to the village gates when Danzo appeared in front of him. Hokage-sama, I hope you don't plan to stop me. I need to fix this mess that was created. Danzo had His eye closed. You mean you want to help the people that mean something to you? Those you consider to be a friend and family? Naruto said nothing as his cold blue eyes looked at Danzo. You know, your father had the same ice cold gaze. I won't stop you, but be smart in what you do. Naruto nodded before he pulled out his old root Anbu mask he had since he was 11. And he placed it on, and he body flickered away. Seeing the action Naruto took, it made Danzo shiver. Whenever Naruto had that mask on, he was a ghost. No emotion, he felt nothing, cared for nobody, did any and everything to finish an objective. He only acted somewhat normal when he was wearing it because Danzo wanted him to be more out there, if you will. Naruto was a blur as he moved through the forest. He was pissed. None of this would have happened if he and Gaara just went to the stone in the first place. But he couldn't be reckless. He was alone. And he needed to bring Anko and Tamari back. And he needed to come back alive. Meanwhile, the second team, consisting of Sai and Neji, they were on the boat with Sasuke and Eugeo. They were going to reach dry land in an hour. Then they would have to walk through some mist to find the village. Sai was currently drawing in a book with a fake smile on his face. Neji looked up at the sky and started to count the birds that flew above. Eugeo sharpened and polished her blade, and Sasuke rubbed the bandages covering his eyes. The captain on the boat turned, letting them know that they would arrive soon and to start packing up their stuff. Off in the distance, at the hidden stone, Onoki was sitting back in his chair with his feet barely kicked up on his desk with two beautiful women by his side. As he caressed their curvaceous bodies, he usually never did such things. He only went to a brothel once, and that was by force. But he finally made some progress in this war along with the Raikage, so he was having two women service him as a reward. But little did he know that a near unstoppable storm was heading for his village. This storm came in the form of Uzumaki Naruto, the non-intelligent Jinchuriki prodigy in most ninja arts, and gifted in wind and lightning style ninjutsu. Not to mention his tail beast-sized chakra reserves. Currently, he was on his second hour of travel as he stopped. He was far past the border of Fire Country, now in the land of rice. He was taking the most unpredictable route to the stone, where there were less people that would spot him. He was looking around, hooking into the land of rice. Then he would travel through the land of iron and into the land of bean jams, and from there he would be in the land of earth. He grit his teeth as he started to move even faster, going at Anbu level speed. In 1 second he covered 60 feet, and that was at his normal mission pace. Now he was moving at 185 feet per second due to him enhancing his legs with chakra and using Shunshin to cover large gaps in trees to keep pace. Even though he moved at immense speeds like this, you would have a very hard time tracking him. He left 0 footprints, and even by smell, he moved so quick for his scent to even linger in the air for more than 2 minutes. Without knowing, a single tear fell from his eyes as he thought of his friends being tortured for village secrets. Naruto then stopped in a small clearing before he viciously flared his chakra as a medium-sized sealing array formed in the ground. Naruto then stabbed his hand with a kunai as he let the blood drip onto the sealing array. As a house with the Namikaze clan crest rose up from the array, Naruto had to take a break. He did something that very few people could do. He left Fire Country and made it halfway through Rice Country in all but 2 hours and 45 minutes. That's something that is unheard of with Itachi. He sat in the Uchiha hideout, looking down at a picture of his mom as a tear fell onto the frame. He ripped the photo from the frame and wrote something on the back of it before rolling it up and handing it to a crow. Go, find Sasuke and give this to him. Our fight is long overdue. Shisui then came into the room as Itachi turned. How is she? Shisui stood next to Itachi on the throne. She's asleep now. When she first awoke, she was angry with me that I used her against her will. Then she remembered that Nagato used her, and she broke down, leaving me to deal with the mess. Long story short, she has nobody else, so she wants to stay with us. She also wants his eyes. Itachi nodded and wiped off a stray tear. So, do you plan on telling Sasuke the truth? Itachi nodded and Shisui shook his head. Do you think that his temper will cloud his judgment? What if he ruins everything that we've worked for? What if he does something stupid? Itachi turned and looked at Shisui. That won't happen. Sasuke won't abandon the leaf. There are people that care about him, and vice versa. And he won't risk abandoning the village in the middle of a war. He has a temper, but he isn't naive as you think. Itachi then changed the topic at hand. How is she looking? Shisui rose an eyebrow. As beautiful as ever. Most of the scarring from those piercings are gone thanks to the Uzumaki chakra that, well, now of course is through her body. Why do you ask, Itachi? Itachi said nothing as he stood and walked away, leaving only Shisui and Konan in the hideout. But guys, I'm going to end it off right here. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe while you're at it. Without further ado, I'm out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.